I don't know if you guys can hear me now. This is causing issues. Oh, awesome. Okay. I'm like, am I still having technical issues? Okay, cool. This is the problem. Whenever I use two cameras, this always causes an issue. Okay, perfect. So what I was saying before was that I have been digital journaling, I think, since the end of 2020. And then in 2021, when I did it for a full year, I ended up using two different journals and then printing them out. So that's all I had said at the start. So sorry to anyone who's watching the playback, and I'm constantly dealing with my tech issues with this, but it's all good. So I hope everyone's having a really good day. But yeah, I can't remember if I know I have shown these journals at some point, but I don't know if I've done flip throughs on them. So this was the first one for 2021, and it went through till about August. And then this was the second one, which went from September until December. And because I was testing out very many things and using very different journals, I have completely different sizes. So yeah, this is one way of I am dealing with my perfectionism and just dealing with it with different sizes. So this is the 2022 journal I had printed up. So I used Officeworks over here, which is a stationery store, but they have a print service. And this is an A4 size hardback photo book. Yeah, and it actually came up really well. I think I maxed out almost the biggest size hardback they could use. So this was about 112 pages long, ultimately. So if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the chat. But essentially what I did is I took my journal from GoodNotes, exported them all as images, and then dropped them into the photo book software. And actually in my vlog that's coming out on Friday, there's a little clip of me actually doing that and my struggles with the fact that I was using a US letter-sized GoodNotes journal and I printed in A4 size, which is the standard size here in Australia. So yeah, I think it turned out really well. I cut out a lot of sort of the extra pages that I wasn't actually using. So I jumped straight into the months. So the cover pages looked really good. I was able to get them full size and not lose a lot of the quality. As I'm doing this, I'm getting better at it. So this year I know what I really want to do so that I don't end up with things cut off and all of that. But essentially I included all of the cover pages. I also included the monthly pages where I had all of my video covers. At the start of the year, I was still doing sort of my photo journaling of just life stuff, which I stopped after a couple of months just because I wasn't keeping up with it. But I still included them because the ones that I did do looked really nice. And like these are the pages where you can see that the letter size and the A4 size doesn't fit in. I couldn't blow these up because I was losing too much off the edges. So that was fine. I just resized them down so they're sort of centered. And this was also the year where I started with one particular layout style, which was this weekly layout, and then completely changed it by the end of the year, which is probably a good thing because I would have needed more pages ultimately for the book to print it if I'd stuck with this. But I'm actually really happy with the quality as well. I think it turned out really well this year. And with the A4 size compared to, I forget what size this was, but this is a much smaller version. I found that, well, this was when I was writing reviews, but the writing was, or the print was quite small. So that when I was doing quotes, this wasn't too bad, but I actually quite like the larger format. So I think I'll stick with that for 2023. I also started doing the kids' books on separate pages and just literally putting the covers in. That's okay, Heather. You basically only missed me having technical difficulties. You're fine. Yeah, so February I still had the personal pages and then just the books. Some months I had sort of decorations on the pages, but yeah, most of the time, not so much. Thanks, Morgan. I'm really happy with how it turned out. Like I like this layout, although you'll see how it changes sort of in a couple of months. I really liked having the black cover pages, and I was going back through my 2021 journal, and there was, in October of 2021, I actually did the book journaling on black, and I really liked that as well. So I might change it up a little bit more this year. But as I said, the print quality, I'm actually very pleasantly surprised by the print quality of this. I think this was the last month I did photo journaling, to be honest. I think I got to Easter and then that was about it. Sometimes if I found fan art and things like that, I'd throw it in to different spots, although I do have like a fan art section at the back of things that I was screenshotting and keeping. Yeah, I like the black pages too, Heather. I think they stand out, but I might even try with some other colors since it's not really going to make any difference when I print them. It's just finding the right combination. So this is when, oh, hang on, so this was when I started doing a different layout, and I just started, instead of having the weekly layouts that came with the planner, I started sort of coming up with my own layouts. And I obviously started with far less books on these pages. But this did give me a little bit more freedom to include more books on pages. But I was still sort of figuring out what I wanted to do. Oh no, I had photos from June too. I forgot about those. I think those were from one of the vlogs that I did. So yeah, now I just started including more books on each page, which I actually quite liked. I changed up how I did the video covers as well. So I just took out the calendar because it didn't really matter when they were posted. It's more just having the covers so I knew what I posted in order. So while 2021 was a bit of an experimentation year, I think this one was also experimenting with just how I could really make this my own. Yeah, I was actually just watching her final pages yesterday, actually. And yeah, I know she said that sometimes she found the black pages challenging, but they also look really spectacular. So I'll probably change it up and try some different colors at some point. But I did really like that I started putting all the kids' books that were specifically for review or brand new to me ones on the separate pages, just because I wasn't really tracking those things, and I haven't traditionally tracked them. Yeah, she's fantastic. I love her book. Well, I love all of her videos, to be honest. I just sit there and watch them and just wish that I had that kind of talent, but I'm happy with this level of talent that I've got going for me. The one thing that I did like is that I started, I mean, I know that with the Anna Hackett books, I basically read them back to back, so they ended up together, but there were some other spreads a little bit later on where I started putting all of the books together because it didn't really matter if they were in the order that I read them, but I read, you know, a group of them in the same month. I know, isn't it cute? I've got to remember who the Etsy stories that had them, because I really love these dragons. Skip the page. So then there was September. And clearly I've got to put in a whole bunch of quotes, but that's fine. I really liked the October gnomes as well for Halloween. And then we had November, and I really liked putting in the TBR game that I did. It turned out really well. And I originally had, or in the digital journal, I actually have TBRs for most months as pages, but I didn't print them out because at the end of the day, it didn't really matter so much what I read and what I didn't, because I already had what I read in there. But I did keep it in for this because I wanted to have which ones I did get to and which ones I didn't, just as a record, because that was the first time I'd played the game. I know, having a series altogether is so nice. Thanks, Heather. It was a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to doing it again. I might do another whole month-long one, but I probably not till later in the year. Maybe I'll do it in September. I'll do it in my birthday month. But I might do it like for a weekend or a week at some point as well. I did separate all the manga that I read in November because I did that alongside that challenge as well. And all of these kids' books were review copies from memory. And then there's December. So I had, most of these are in the order that I read them, except then I went back through and put all the criminal intentions books on their own page, because of course I did. And I'm quite happy that I did that. And those were the last lot of books that I read. Sorry, I realise I'm moving that out of the frame. And then the last section is just sort of any fan art I'd found throughout the year. Some by specific authors, just things that I'd screenshot, and all of my screenshots just sit on my phone. So I just decided to pull them out and throw them in to the pages. And then there was some other artwork and bits and pieces that I'd found that I really liked, and I figured I'd throw them in and get them printed. Some memes that I found funny. And that is the 2022 journal. So comparative to 2021. So I was still doing weekly journaling at that point, which was a lot of fun, but also time consuming. And I was still doing reviews, like very detailed reviews, which I decided not to do. Oh, here's October. I did the TBR in black. I did have the October challenges. So this is what I meant when I still had TBRs in 2021, but yeah, something I changed. That's another black layout that I did, which I really, really liked. And part of me sort of wants to go back to this, but a lot of the detail that I was putting in here is in the spreadsheet. So yeah, like the weekly journaling was actually really good for things like memes and artworks. I could literally just drop it in, but also a lot of work and just not what I wanted. What I do want to do more of is things like this, where if there is a particular book that I read, I want to just do a full page spread, which is why I have a separate one, which only currently has like 5 pages in it from last year, which I probably should have included in last year's journal, but I might actually just wait till I've got a few more and then print them up as their own thing. But both of those are really different to what the first one was, which if you haven't been on my channel for long, you may not have seen it, but I was handwriting everything, which actually looks really cool. I really like the style of this, and part of me is kicking myself that I didn't start off with horizontal planner this year, because I actually quite like this style of layout. But depending on how I go, I may do another 6-month one and swap it over. But they look really nice when they're all printed up and you've got a physical copy for yourself. Okay, trying to catch up. Thank you. Yeah, and that's the thing. I collect them and I collect them, and sometimes I transfer them to my computer, and then I'm like, I should do something with them. So having a place to put them is really nice. It's also a good record for the year. Yay! It is really fun. And look, getting it printed and bound this year, because as I said, I've basically maxed out the page capacity in the hardcover book. I think I missed out maxing it out by like 4 pages. It was a little bit pricey, so I think it worked out, just for transparency's sake, it was about 130 Australian dollars from Officeworks. But that said, the quality of it's really nice. It's a really nice hardback. The print quality is good. And it's something that I spent such a long time on setting up that it's kind of worth that cost, because now it's not something that's just sitting on a device somewhere. It's something I can put on my shelf and have a record of and look back later on. And far less stressful for myself than doing a physical book journal, because I have so much more control over this, whereas my perfectionism kicks in a little bit with something that I have to make myself. So it works for me. But yeah, this was just going to be a super short live stream so that I could do the flip through for people. I don't know if anyone had any questions or anything they wanted to know about it, but I'm really pleased with how this one turned out. Every time I do it, I get slightly better at printing it up. And now that I am making it from scratch in the size format that I'm going to be printing it in for the end of the year, I think it's just going to get better and better. And I'm also no longer using someone else's design, so I like having that control. Yeah, like I like being able to put those things in there, because they're a big part of all of this, and makes it a bit fun. Although I'm glad I moved from this layout to just having the covers as bigger ones so that I can actually see what's in them. That was a good choice. All right. Oh, yay. I'm glad. I mean, the thing is, even if you don't have it printed up, just having a space for it somewhere, because what I have to still do with the digital journal is export it as a PDF so that I can have a completed digital copy, because normally it's something that I have open on my iPad, but because I'm no longer using the 2022 one, I'm not looking at it, but I want to have it, make sure that I've got a copy stored on my computer with everything in it. So including all the stuff that I didn't print out, just having all of that there. But yes, exactly. Like, it's just, sometimes you just want to look back and go, well, what was I finding memorable and funny at any given point in time? And also, I just need to clear out my iPhone photos, because it gets a bit scary sometimes with how much stuff is in there. All right. Thanks, guys, for joining me and for putting up with my technical difficulties at the start. I am currently in the middle of editing. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's a one-off binding thing, so I'm not worried about the cost of that. Yeah, oh, absolutely. Okay. I'm glad I do it, and I think it'll be something, like, I love flipping through them and having a look at them. So I've got to find a spot where I can actually put them, that they're not on the bookshelf behind the doors. I think I need to find somewhere to put them on the bookshelves out here. Thank you, Heather. Thanks, Carrie. But yeah, if you guys have any questions later, feel free to either pop them in the comments or drop them in the Discord if you're in the members Discord, and I will answer them. but I'm just very happy with how it turned out. So thanks for joining me. I hope you guys have a really good rest of the evening if you're overseas, or a really good day if you're in the Southern Hemisphere. And I will see you guys. Well, I have another video coming out tomorrow. That's my TBR card update, and I'm in the middle of editing my Kylie Scott and American food snack reading vlog, which has been interesting. It's going to be quite a long one. So that's what's coming out for the rest of the week. And then on Friday, I'm hosting another live stream. It's the live A to Z of Romance Rex that Robin and Bree and Megan are joining me for. So this week there's a few more videos just because I'm on holidays, and why not? All right. Enjoy the rest of the day, guys, and I will see you next time. Thanks for joining.